Good morning, universe. It is 10 o'clock, May 15th, and we are coming live. I think we are good to go here. Check, 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 check. We had some excitement just a little bit ago. The garbage truck came by, and everyone was frantically running around. It was a very exciting time for myself and the kids. And yeah, so that delayed the start of what we were doing here for a couple minutes, but I think we're on track now. I think we're good. I'm gonna get some links up and get ready to share some of the new updates for today, May 15th. This is episode 5 of Office Hours, so hopefully you guys who have tuned in are following along. Sorry, let me mute that real quick. Boom, got it. We got it. We got it. All right, now we're good. Okay. Um, Anyways, what I was saying, for those of you that have seen this before or have checked in before, you obviously know that this is a little live stream that I produce and put on every Friday due to the COVID outbreak. We're required, but it's something that I find very very interesting to be available for an hour worth of time. And I thought since my digital multimedia classes study this and we do this just as a way to keep my skills going, we could kind of continue to have our kind of meetups or posts go live and interactive and create some content that can be viewed and archived and things like that. So, welcome back. I'm just going to go through here and publish some links, get those active so that people out there can know what's going on. Usually I have this stuff done beforehand, but like I said earlier, there was a lot of excitement that was going through because the garbage truck came by. And I mean, look, when the garbage truck comes by, you don't not want to see the garbage truck. I guess. I don't know. Is that a proper way of it? You guys can correct me on that. I'm sure there's probably a better way of saying that, but whatever. So I am posting. That looks great right there. Post. All right. So we got one account down. Let's do another account here. All right. That one looks like we are good. Good. Awesome. So quick. All right, we're almost there. One more account. One more account. One. Actually, I take that back. Uh-oh. Dog is barking. Dog is barking. So this could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably a bad thing. All right, here we go. Getting there. Last set of notifications that I need to get out to make sure everybody knows what's going on. I know there's probably an easier way to moderate some of this stuff and have it all done for me at once. Unfortunately, things have been really fast paced here, not a lot of slowing down in between things, and I just haven't had a chance to get everything synced up or worked up yet. So I think we are good. Yes, everything is posted. We are live now for the last couple of minutes. And yes, great, good, awesome. Here we are. So here we are, right? So again, just a little brief recap, I guess, for everybody. This is a live stream that I put on every day. I'm sorry, not every day. Take that back. Every Friday between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. I apologize for the barking dog in the background. And the goal is to reach out, be available to the students, be able to check in, answer questions that might come up. I get a ton of them. And each week I try to make sure that I have some time that I can explain the lessons, be available for people that might have questions on the lessons or past lessons, and just kind of make sure that everybody's doing well and make sure everything's going good. So here we are. I'm getting all the notifications on there right now as we speak. Let's see, getting text messages too. I apologize. Um, all right, there we go. Um, a couple parts to this. Actually, we're wrapping up week week 4. We will be wrapping up week 4 and moving into week 5 starting next week. As you can see on the ticker down there, we have new lessons that have already been posted. They're available for you guys via Google Classroom. And those of you guys tuning in know exactly what that's all about. If you haven't yet gotten the Google Classroom codes, if you're watching this, in the future, because this is a past episode, then you want to try to get in contact with me. My social media, got it reversed here. My social media accounts are right there. Obviously, you guys know my email address as well. Just send out an email and I can get you guys that information. I don't want to post on a public forum like this, YouTube, or a stream like this, all the Google Classroom codes, because they're specific for us. But I have all that stuff available for you guys if you need that. So don't hesitate to reach out. I try to make sure that I check my notifications, my emails on a daily basis. I'm finding as we kind of go into this halfway point that I've got a decent routine set up. We've got, we're at the halfway point. So I wish I could have had this stuff started a little bit earlier, but where we're at right now, I think we're okay. I think we're good. The one thing though that I want to just kind of throw out to you guys is if you are emailing during, I would call it non-office hours, but what I mean by that is, towards the late evening, early morning, I've gotten a slew of emails sporadically on different dates, anywhere between midnight and 3 o'clock in the morning. And when I wake up, I get a chance, I open up my phone and I've got all these notifications that I have to try to check up on. If you are, corresponding to me at those hours, just understand I'm going to try to get to you guys and get that feedback to you as soon as possible. However, it might be a little bit harder given the fact that I'm still sleeping. So yeah, just to throw out there for you guys, just to let you know that I am getting everything, and I'm trying my hardest to make sure that I'm getting answers and stuff like that out to you guys. Getting another notification as we speak. Where are we at the halfway point? So for both of my classes, my intro to art, my drawing, my advanced drawing, I'm sorry, my digital multimedia, and my advanced digital multimedia portion, we are, this is a crazy time, but we're at the halfway point. We've had 4 weeks worth of assignments go out, 4 weeks of work. Hopefully you guys have developed into some sort of routine and you have the ability to kind of, as the weeks go on, pace yourself through this. Just as an update for me, since week 5's assignments are out there and live right now, this is kind of going to be how it goes. I'm going to post stuff for you guys. I'm going to get that information out there. On Thursday afternoon, the school likes us to post those by Thursday evening, so Friday all the printing can be done for any students that are looking to print up physical copies of materials. I'm not expecting anybody to do anything or even to check in on that Thursday. I'm just posting information on Thursday so that I don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Fridays, I'll do my live stream. During my live stream, I'll try to take some time to explaining both of the assignments. And if people check in and have questions, they can feel free to throw those comments out there in the chat. I'll try to address them as quickly as possible or as they come up. I love getting feedback, and I love hearing from you guys on those things. So please don't hesitate if something like that comes up. And then obviously over the course of the weekend and then the following week, you have time to work on those challenges. And again, like I just previously stated, if you've got questions, please don't hesitate to email me or send me some sort of communication through my social sites or email, and I will get back to you guys as soon as I possibly can. Again, if you're emailing me late night, that's probably not going to be answered until later on in the morning or something like that. So, yeah. I've done a brief introduction. I'm sure I've rambled a little bit. What I wanted to do here is just basically explain the lessons for the upcoming week. And if you guys have any questions, or if you click and tune in or start to tune in, you guys can throw those comments in there in the stream, and hopefully I can try to respond to them as best as possible. So let's start with intro to art and drawing, because I believe that's the first up on the ticker. This week I have you guys looking at something called macro drawing, and this is something that we have kind of looked at, but not in depth. It's a term that you guys might look at and go, whoa, this is a new term, but it's just a fancy way of saying extreme zoomed in perspective. So, you take a photograph of something, you don't really think about it, but you probably have seen on, social media websites or web pages where they have these like extreme close-ups of regular everyday objects. I'm trying to find stuff here that might have something to be able to be zoomed in on. And at my desk right now, I don't have anything, but the objects that I chose were simple household everyday objects that you kind of take for granted, like a button on a shirt or a zipper on a sweatshirt. And that's what I kind of want you guys to do for this assignment, is take two objects that are fairly small in size and do a macro drawing of them, just paying attention to some of the details and colors and things like that. Again, one of the things that I can't stress enough on this is I want to make sure that you guys are completely aware that this is just practice. I'm not looking for mastery. I'm not looking for you guys to turn in, what you would call works of art, something that could get hung up in a museum. I'm just looking for you guys to be able to, spend some time maybe away from the books and slow down a little bit. I know a lot of people are trying to rush through work. Sometimes I get caught up in doing that with my son's work. Hurry up, rush. We got to get through all this stuff. But this is one of those assignments that I'd rather you guys slow yourself down through. I mean, I'll just say it right here on the stream. I'd rather you guys slow yourself down and do one really good macro drawing. And what I mean by really good is a drawing that pays attention to a lot of the detail, a drawing that pays attention to a lot of the shades or coloring, if that's something that you decide to add in, then something that looks like it was hurried up and rushed through over the course of maybe 10 minutes just for the sake of getting it done. I'd rather you guys slow down some things and take some time on it and do less work or possibly more work to show that you actually are doing the assignment the way it was supposed to be done. So that kind of covers the ins and outs for my intro to art and drawing classes. Now, in regards to my digital multimedia and advanced digital multimedia, last week I had you guys working on a news story pitch. This is something that's really important to us as we go through the course and the curriculum, creating content that gets posted for public consumption, for public viewing and things like that. It's really important to make sure that we kind of have everything organized, plotted out, planned out, and we're prepared for what we're trying to say and how it's going to look towards the end. We just aren't going out on the fly. Last week, I went to lengths as to explaining, what things would go on the news story pitch, and I had you guys work on that. And as you guys are watching this, those that have already submitted those news story pitches early, I gave you guys some feedback. Those of you guys that are going to be turning that or submitting that today, since it is the deadline today, you guys will get some of that feedback commentary coming up soon. But now what I want you guys to do for next week is have an opportunity to kind of check in on the pros, the professionals, and compare some of the work that you did from last week in the comments that I gave you to what you see on an everyday broadcast. So what I'm asking for you guys to do is a simple news evaluation. Throughout the week, take a segment that's on that's either on the morning news or the evening news. It's totally your choice. and just basically look through the evaluation, watch the segment, and try to answer the questions to the best of your ability of what you remember. A couple things that I want to caution you on for this exercise is in regards to when we make content in our class, we want to really make sure that people are remembering what we're saying and they're coming back and they're tuning in. So with that being said, when you guys do this assignment, what I'm looking for you guys to do is watch the segment of news, not the whole hour or 2 hours that it might be on, but just a small little segment. And then whatever the story was on, go back and try to answer the series of questions that are presented there, and if you don't know the answers because you missed it or it's something that you can't remember, just put I can't remember, I don't know. And really what I want to do with this assignment is kind of use it as a reflection as to what you were able to gather from a professional segment of news and compare it to the ideas that you already came up with in week 4 from your new story pitch. And see what things we can improve upon, what things we've got that are correct, what things we don't need to necessarily worry about because we already addressed them, and so on and so forth. So that kind of wraps up the digital multimedia aspect of the assignments. And again, like I said, as the show goes on, as people tune in, if you've got questions, please insert them down below on the comments or on the side on the comments or wherever you're at, and I'll try to get feedback to you as soon as possible. All right. So I guess let's shift gears here. So this is sort of our halfway point, or there we go, our halfway point in the whole distance learning schedule that we've got. We've got 4 weeks left. Last week was a pretty good week. The weather's getting nicer outside. It's becoming a little bit easier for us to go out and just hang outside, go for walks, play outside. We did experiment a little bit with haircuts, just trimming up some stuff. We weren't very risk taking in those endeavors. We didn't go crazy or anything like that. And actually, my hair didn't change all that much. I'm just wearing a hat because I'm keeping the streak alive of not combing my hair. So yeah, not much else like that. We have a new movie that I believe is premiering tonight, the Scooby-Doo movie. So that's going to be up for family movie watching. There's a couple other films that are out there that I'm looking to, not kid related. I think that Al Capone movie with Tom Hardy could be really, really interesting. And just some odds and ends around the house that we're going to try to get done. From a personal project side to this, I've got some traditional artwork earlier this week, as my son was doing a Zoom call, I came across, as I was trying to clean up some odds and ends, now I'm not going to be able to find them. Here we are, some artist trading cards. I'm not sure if you guys know these things exist. Actually, it's kind of like a gimmick if you want to ask me, but they're kind of a Batman museum. I don't know, but my son was doing a Zoom call with his school, and I found these things, so I started drawing on them as he was going through and sketching. I'm sorry, not sketching, as he was going through and doing his school stuff, and I was able to, let me see if I can switch cameras here real quick. I was able to, there we go. I accidentally kicked that a little bit earlier. Get a collection of these guys done. Let's see, zoom out a little bit. There we go. So let's see. Move the coffee cup. And like all good things, once I got going, I had a hard time stopping. I believe last week I actually did this one live right here. This was one that I didn't even realize was a sketch card until I started sketching on it, and lo and behold, I just made up a nice little Street Fighter character. Let's get that camera zoomed in there. Oh, maybe not. There you go. So I went into it a little bit more. At the time, I was just kind of bumming around on some old comic book movies, trying to keep me busy. And I came across the Watchmen movie. I haven't seen the Watchmen series that's on, I believe it's on HBO. Um, but regardless, I had these and I started sketching up the main cast to the Watchmen. And over the course of our Zoom meetings or digital meetings when we're up, drop one, when we're doing work up here, I try to add some stuff in as we go. I've got the full cast right there. Dr. Manhattan, Silk Spectre. No, not Silk Spectre. Why am I forgetting her name? Somebody. This is when I need an actual audience to help correct me. I forget her name now. Oh my gosh. The comedian. Night Owl. Hold on. We're gonna go. We also got Rorschach, my favorite. I think a lot of people's favorite, Ozymandias. Hold on. Oh my goodness, why would I have forgotten that? Oh my goodness. Well, that's not going to help. But when you're live and you've got a low audience turnout, I guess it doesn't matter all that much, does it? If this ever gets really, really big, I'm going to be in trouble. People are going to question my understanding. Oh, Sally Jupiter. Sally Jupiter? Miss Jupiter? I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, I got the Watchmen cast here, and since the hard part is kind of out of the way, or the business end of this is sort of out of the way, I figured what better than to maybe occupy some time here and maybe do a little bit of live drawing for everyone out there, let everyone kind of see what's going on, and then people tune in or people watch this. That's awesome. If not, that's cool too. So maybe we'll jump right into it. All right, sorry. Getting some supplies, answering a few. Oh my goodness. All right, we're good. There we go. I believe we're good. So, I believe when I left off, I was working on Sally Jupiter. Sally Jupiter. Should I feel bad that I don't remember her name? I mean, I read the comics. I didn't. I can't claim to say I have read the comics when they first came out because that's. I was shoot. When did this get written? I believe it was in the '80s, maybe late '80s. Can't remember. Either way, I did pick it up as a trade. Right, there's the trade. I think I might have had a couple random issues myself too that were confusing to me when I was younger, just because I didn't remember the I didn't know that it was part of a bigger series, and I realized too that like this DC is definitely not something that I think a lot of younger fans get into because the writing is very mature. The content is kind of mature, and I'm not saying that DC is I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to offend anybody when I say this. I'm just mentioning that when I was younger, I didn't go to DC. I was much more of a Marvel fan because I was in love with the characters and I liked that the stories were really simple and easy for me to follow. It seemed like the artwork was simpler for a young person to understand. Um, but as I guess, grown up a little bit, I seem to have been drifting over towards the content that DC creates now, and I think that's kind of cool. I don't have a lot of Marvel books that are in my pool. I try to stay current with them. There's a few characters and a few storylines that I actively pursue in regards to checking stuff out. Um, but really, one of the things that I found that I'm very interested in is the creators. I like the writers. I like the artists. I feel like regardless whether they work for DC or Marvel, if they captured my attention and there's someone that I'm going to enjoy their stuff, then that's someone that I want to spend a little bit more time researching. Matter of fact, let me see. I can get out some recommendations for you guys as I'm drawing. I mean, it's my stream. I can do whatever I want. So, as I pull from the archive over here, yeah, here we go. Awesome. So, two creators that I would love to recommend to anybody who's out there, anybody who's listening right now. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I should have had this prepared. I guess I just didn't think that this was going to happen. Well, we'll just take this one. So, two creators right now that for a while I've been very interested in their work. I call them creators because they do both sides to this. They're writers and they're illustrators. If that worries, if I'm miscalculating or mischaracterizing that, then so be it. But I found Jeff Lemire. Geez, I don't know how many years ago. Actually, I picked up a few books that he had done. I wasn't even really paying attention that it was him. And I found out that over the years, I had a few series of his work. And then I started to do some research. The Sweet Tooth series is geez, when did this get published? I don't know, maybe 15 years old, maybe 10 years old. I don't see a date in here. Either way, it was a really good storyline that since he was working as sole illustrator and writer, I decided to jump in on, and that definitely made me explore the rest of his books. Currently, he's got a few contract gigs, I believe, through DC, Vertigo, Dark Horse. He's writing some issues, Black Hammer. He has Gideon Falls through Image, and the stories are really good. And his art style too is something that is very non-traditional, at least when it comes to this the comic book scene. And I really like just the illustrative quality that he takes with his pen work. When he works in color, his washes. It's just something that even though it's non-traditional, you can tell there's a lot of energy and effort into what he's producing. So Jeff Lemire is someone that I highly recommend. And another one who's been a longtime favorite of mine, but what's interesting about it is it seems that I've had some lapses in regards to what I've been collecting, is Shaun Murphy. I don't know if you guys can see the name up there, Shaun Murphy. Currently, right now, what is doing really huge for him is the Batman White Knight series, or the White Knight Returns series through DC's Black Label. What is that called? Their organization. It's content that's for more mature readers. There's some really good subjects and titles on there, and the creators have an opportunity to go in a lot of different mature directions with it. But Shaun Murphy is someone whose career I followed for a decent amount of time as he was coming up with Scott Snyder. He did a book called The Wake that, of course, American American Vampire was another good one. And one of the things I really appreciate about Shaun Murphy is his attention to the detail of illustration. It when you look at this, I mean, depending on what your likes and what your tastes on, I would absolutely agree that that you cannot argue that he takes illustration incredibly serious. There is a lot of detail in his work. From being able to meet him, it's clear that he's very inspired by mechanical objects, cars, motorcycles, things of that nature. And I think that's another thing that we have as a relationship and stuff like that, or a connection. But it's really cool to see some of his work too. And he's actually in the midst today. Debuting a new independent project on Indiegogo website called Plot Holes, which I'm expecting to get an email or something. I subscribed to a newsletter, and actually a couple times when it was coming through notifications, I thought that's what I was getting. These are artists and creators, Jeff and Shaun, that I absolutely will go and try to support as much as possible. Not that you really see a lot of details of their stuff or inspiration in their work, but I really appreciate the dedication that they take to their craft. So, yeah, if you guys are watching this live, or if you guys are checking in on this later on, something that you guys should check out. Give them a look see. So I am going to, let's hit up Dr. Manhattan. He's our blue friend, here. I don't seem to have all of my colors available out. Let's fix this a little bit. So you guys can't see this right now, but inside this room, I have my drawing desk over here next to the window. It's nice, get some natural light. I've got another desk here that we just kind of set up in regards for having to do all that secretarial work, typing out, making posts and things like that. I broadcast from here too. I've got the little camera mount, but unfortunately I can't show you the storage for the collection of supplies that I have. So I'll just struggle. Oh my goodness. There we go. Move one thing to get to another. So when I illustrate, when I do my work, I primarily like to work in Illustrator marker. I enjoy pen and ink as well. It's a little bit more time consuming, and with the type and the style that I work, sometimes it's easier just to be a little bit fast paced, fast moving. So I work with illustration markers. Let me see if I can switch over here real quick to give you guys a little tour of the materials that I got. Copic is a brand that has gained a lot of popularity, with social media. A lot of artists will show off their collections and just, let's see, why are we not? Oh, that's why. There we go. Manual and autofocus is a challenging thing. Anyways, I didn't really know much about the professional realm of Illustrator markers. Didn't really know how it worked or anything like that. Jumped in on a small pack of these. I don't know, what is it? Maybe about 10 years ago, and fell in love with them. It is a pricey endeavor. Don't get me wrong. These don't come cheap. And I've built up the collection over the course of the last few years. And I try to keep these as organized as possible by either numbers or shades or whatever it is that, I may be working on here. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, so, this is sort of the workstation that I've established now. In regards to these markers, a lot of people have seen these before and asked questions about things. These have a very specific way that they're supposed to be used. While I'm always into experimentation and just kind of doing things however you feel necessary to do them, it is kind of important that you understand if you're going to be spending money on these materials, you use them sort of the way that they're supposed to be used. Each marker is labeled. I'm going to get you. Let's see here. I'll just grab a couple of these that are readily available. So I grabbed these for no apparent reason other than, they were the first ones that I was able to. Why are we focusing here? There we go. So, anyways, well, there. Oh, we had it. We had it for a second, and then we didn't. So each one of these markers are labeled with a classification on them. There we go, a little bit better. We have, the name of the color, which to me is completely arbitrary. It really doesn't matter. And then we have numbers that are on them as well. And the numbering system is kind of important because it shows you how these things should be used in conjunction to each other. Now, if you've ever looked at professional markers in the past, or illustrative markers, one thing that they'll tell you is that they're made to be blended over top of each other. They're made to be used more than once. So a lot of people, especially in my classes, when they get a chance to use these, they're kind of surprised that the results are rather underwhelming. But the purpose to these is that they get used. There's a build-up effect. The solution, the alcohol that's actually in these is a specific solution or a specific blend that allows the pigments to actually blend together, giving it that airbrushed effect. But the colors, you get a little bit more success when you use colors that are related to each other. So when I was picking the colors to kind of show you this, I picked ones whose numbers were pretty close, and you can see that this is just it's kind of like a bluish color. You've got a paler, lighter blue, a bit medium tone, and then a bit darker, and these are all from 3 specific markers. Now, what you can do with them is make the color a bit more intense by layering over with additional coats. So you can see here in this first little circle, this first little area right here, I have a light color here, but with a second coat, I was able to darken it almost equivalent to the color that's in the middle. I can do that with the rest of the markers as well. Go in, add a second coat, and what you'll see on the screen is that the top portion just gets a little bit darker. And as you add additional coats, the values start to build. So I'm able to replicate colors just by coating them on top of each other, or I can blend them as well. Let's see, let's see, what can I do here? Well, I'm going to take a neutral color. I'm going to take a neutral color here. It's just a simple gray tone, a neutral gray, sort of medium, and swipe right through. And as you can see, the buildup isn't like anything miraculous or anything like that, but the gray will mix, the tones will mix a little bit, and it does darken it. Now the marker that I chose at random isn't super dark of a value in regards to its grayscale. That's why over here in the dark blue it's almost getting lost. But these are tools that when I have students who inquire about them, they ask about them, if I've ever used them or what my thoughts are on them. I have no problems explaining to them, yeah, they're great, or at least I like them. But I also caution them because they are expensive. Okay, let's not get this wrong. They're an art material, and like all materials, they can be pricey. And if you're not going to spend the time to use them or experiment with them, it's probably not something that I would recommend going into unless you're really prepared to jump into it and play around. Um, or let me rephrase that because that kind of comes off very close-minded. I think if you're a little bit nervous about it because the prices are extremely high or they're too expensive for you, you can start to get introduced on a lower level by buying smaller packs. I mean, you don't have to go in and buy the huge 72 arrangement pack like this. First of all, you're going to go bankrupt. Second of all, it's just complete overkill for somebody who's just learning and just starting out. But one thing that I always tell people is, you're going to have some limitations when you start out small like that. If you only buy one marker or if you only buy three markers, you're going to be limited to how it works, how the whole thing gets kind of mapped out and works. So you got to kind of be a little careful, and look, just like any type of investment that you're going to make, do some research, make sure that the choices that you're making fit your skills and the ability levels that you want to get into. Now, Copic does make a number of different, I guess you could call it, models of these markers. I like the Copic Sketch brand. It's like an oval based marker. They do have, let me see if I've got any readily available. Yeah, I do. They do make another. Oh, sorry. They do make another regular Copic illustration marker. These have a different shape. They're more cubed. They're exactly the same ink and the same color scheme. The only difference is the nibs or the tips on the marker. The sketch marker comes with a brush tip and the chisel tip. Let's see. There we go. Right? Chisel tip, brush tip. Brush tip is just a tip that has sort of like a paintbrush quality to it. I'll show you guys on the camera right here where I'm working. I'm kind of coloring like you would a normal marker, but I'm also able to make brush marks with it. I like this the brush tip a lot, just because I enjoy watercolor work. The regular sketch markers, the tips that they have is the chisel tip. So both models have the chisel tip itself. The only difference is instead of a brush tip on the other end, there we go. They have, I guess, more of a fine tip. What do they call it? They classify it as. They don't classify it as anything. It's just a more kind of needle nose fine tip. These are good. Actually, this was the first marker that I jumped into buying some smaller sets. What I found out was I couldn't be loose when I was doing my artwork. I felt very kind of closed in because of the technical writing ability with these markers, and I like to kind of freely sketch and freely make my marks instead of being very writing specific. And when I found out they made these, I made a quick shift. So I keep some of these around, especially for larger areas, or if I'm trying to experiment with colors instead of wasting the ink on the big set. I'll just kind of experiment with these. The nice thing too about the Copic markers are they're refillable. So you can go out and buy one marker and then buy the ink and continuously refill the ink. Refill ink looks well. Here's a color. I use a lot of red. Refill ink comes like this. Again, it's all classified by the name or the number code up there, and basically it's refill ink. You take off the felt tip nib like with a set of tweezers. You just pop this out and fill this up. You got to be kind of careful. It's not something that I recommend trying to rush through, and absolutely when it comes time to refill these, I make a mess. Sometimes I get really excited and want to hurry up and cruise through it, but Yeah, a refill. This refill costs just as much, I think, as one marker, but I don't know what the exact stats are on these refills. But let's see. All right, so this is a special black refill. I've refilled my black marker. I don't know, about 15 times, and I still have. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I still have ink in here. I mean, eventually this will run out, but I mean, at least 15 times I haven't had to go out and buy a new black marker, which to me is awesome because I'm saving some money there. But again, that's something that I think as you guys, as you get a little bit more advanced, as you start to kind of play around with it, you'll understand what's available to you. So let's get back into this drawing here. I don't know if anyone's still there, but whatever. I'm here, and that's all that matters. So I laid down a really, really light blue. I'm going to contrast that. Or at least come in with a darker shade here. Let's go. I'm going to bring in one of these areas. Wasn't really sure what to do for the background with this guy. So I just made sort of a blank color background. I know the character is sort of stationed out in space. So I think I might do like a space background for this guy. Fill this in a little bit here. There we go. All right. So one of the things I think is very, very powerful when, drawing, adding color, adding shading is the ability to introduce contrast of tones, contrast of colors. And all contrast means is just the comparison between two values. In this case, the light blue that I'm using for the character and the dark gray value that I'm using for the background. I like them to pop a little bit, so I'm contrasting the shade in the background so that the foreground pops a little bit. You can do this with colors too. You can contrast two colors that are next to each other, and this kind of goes in, at least for my students, into the discussion we have when it comes time to look at color theory. Color theory, how colors are made, how colors are used, sort of best practices when using them either in design, like for my digital multimedia classes, doing graphic design, or how best to approach it in traditional work like illustrative work, drawings, or whatever, paintings, things like that. Now this is where I need to focus a little bit more. Watch the talking. Don't want to lose any details or anything like that. There we go. A little bit better. Boom. So there we go. Boom, 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 boom. Looks good. Gonna tighten up this curve right here just a little bit. I think one of the reasons why young artists or artists who are first starting out tend to be a little apprehensive. I've noticed in regards to like in our classes when it comes to doing projects with color or take the next step and start to build value, people are kind of nervous about it. Is mainly because there's so many choices, and in the case of this work right now, as soon as you make that decision to lay down a dark shade, you're stuck with it. You have to go with that decision. I put in this dark dark value right now, and there's no going back. I can't undo that. I was looking for a ruler here, a straight edge, and I can't seem to find. Actually, hold on here. Here's a scrap sheet of paper. There we go. So here we go. Oh, there's another one. Another thing that I like to do, regardless of whether it's these artist cards that I just found, or there we go. Commission work that I gotten asked to do. I like to try to keep a scrap sheet. Oh geez, a scrap sheet of the same surface close by. So if I'm running into problems with the way colors are looking, or if I want to, if I want to see what a color is going to look like, I already have an idea of what that will be. I got to stop talking because I don't feel like that line is straight enough. Here we go. It's a little bit better. Sorry, guys. There we go. Just trying to tighten up some of these lines real quick. It's looking a little bit better here. Oh geez, I didn't realize time flies when you're live streaming and having fun. So yeah, cleaned up the edges a little bit. Let's see if we can in 10 minutes do a decent dent in here. Now, the light blue is, at least through what I'm seeing on the screen, getting lost. So I'm going to come in with the next lightest shade here. Let's see if we can darken just a little bit of this up. Yeah, I'm liking this a little bit more. So, like I said, I like to use these Copic sketch markers because I just enjoy the paintbrush nib, the tip, the brush pen tip. So actually, let's see here. I kind of like how that's looking right there. Wow, this was unplanned, completely unplanned. But as soon as I threw on that darker blue, I noticed that I kind of like this. I kind of like how this is looking. So I might use this dark blue as, sorry for my head being in the way, as some shadow work here. Let's see. I mean, the good thing here is if I screw up, I can just completely wash this out and make it a darker blue. But I'm actually liking the results that I'm getting for using this as a dark blue. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm losing my orientation with the screen and how I'm drawing. Might have to work on a better setup for the overhead camera. When I started this stream, I didn't really have intentions of doing live broadcasts or anything like that, but it just sort of happened, and could have maybe rethought the positioning of some things here. Let's see. So one of the things that'll happen when doing work like this is I hear a lot of people get really anxious because they notice streaks in their work. And you'll notice I'm kind of working fast. I do this so that I can eliminate the streaks, and the alcohol, the pigment has a chance to sort of blend in over itself. Sometimes you can see here I've got a little bit darker tone, so I'll very quickly work up through this way and try to make sure everything is mixed right. There, it's looking a little bit better. Let's see, I think there probably would be a little bit of a shadow here under the nose. Might want to change that angle as well. Let's see, probably a little around the eyes. I'm liking that. It's making me feel nice and creative. So yeah. Now, I do like to go in and just make sure my edges, as you know, doing illustrative work, one of the things that I don't know, I guess I constantly want to make sure that I preserve is the original drawing. So I am going to go in and outline this just a bit with a black micron liner pen. Sorry guys, get your head out of the way. Mr. Pappas, get your head out of the way, I can't see. So we are going to be wrapping up the stream in a couple minutes. To those of you who are still, still tuning in, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being there. If you're a student, I hope you're staying safe. If anybody out there who's watching the stream, this is a very crazy time, and I'm hoping that you guys, everyone out there, is staying safe. Doing what you need to do so that we can kind of get back to some sort of normal, which I realize I don't really know what that is. Those of you guys that are my students that are tuning in, just understand everybody misses each other. I'm when this first started out, I'll admit I was very much looking at the break going, oh, this is sweet, we get some time off, right? And now I'm really concerned about what's going to happen next. And as soon as we get that information, hopefully we'll be able to relay it to you guys. But I do think the more care we take into being careful about decisions that we make, being with each other, and stuff like that, maybe the better we can kind of squash this. I don't know. I don't want to get this wasn't meant to be some sort of political thing, so I'm just going to shut up and wrap up my drawing. But to those of you guys out there, just be careful. Just be careful. All right, so I'm liking this. Digging the line work here. Oh, almost hit the microphone. There we go. Let's see. Oh, geez, my hat. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, I never really intended to do work like this. So I might have to work a new setup here. a little bit more attention to these eyes. Kind of rushing through it. My hand's starting to shake. Can't forget his little symbol on his head. Give him a butt chin. All right, looks good. So there'll probably be a couple more odds and ends that I'll throw on this. I'm gonna try to figure out something in the background a little bit, and maybe pay attention to some values here. But thanks for sticking with me, guys. Dr. Manhattan sketch card. Maybe I'll offer it up, drop it off, see if anybody's interested in it. Like I said, hopefully you guys stay safe. Those of you guys that are students that are tuned in, make sure you check out the assignments on the website on your Google Classroom. I will see you guys next week here. Same YouTube channel, same YouTube time. Bye, guys.